It's been a very weird year for us, yeah. Obviously, from Danny to Dennis, back to Danny again, so a lot's definitely happened. I don't know, it's just exciting, you know? I mean, we're all back in the same headset that we were back when we were creating Alexandria. We're all really excited again, lots to do. It's just a good time in our camp. We're all extremely happy and excited about everything. I was just confused, you know, like it was just very abrupt. It didn't really make any sense to us. It still doesn't. We still have not been given an answer as to why he just left all of a sudden. But honestly, you know, like, I'm proud of The Black. We had a great album. It was a great year. We had a good time, but it never really felt like Asking Alexandria. There was always something missing. So, you know, when Dennis did just leave, rather than sitting around and being like, well, what do we do now? I just was like, well, this is the perfect opportunity to get the original lineup back together and, you know, fix this family that had been broken for a while now. And so, you know, I got back in contact with Danny, and we'd already been talking for a while before anyway, just rekindling our friendship. So, you know, I think everything happens for a reason, and that was just something that needed to happen for me and Danny and the rest of the guys to sort of have a little bit of time apart and work on ourselves so that we could get back to being the good friends we once were, you know. Danny was, I guess he was just as shocked as we were, you know. I mean, it wasn't like planned or anything, so it was kind of out of the blue. When I went to meet up with Danny, it was just like we were just going to go and hang out, and then I think that was the first time we'd really seen each other in a long time, and I think we both knew, you know, after we hung out again, it was like, oh wow, this is just like it was, you know, we're still best friends. This is awesome. So, you know, it was quick and it was sudden, but it felt right, you know. It wasn't forced. If it felt forced and unnatural and we weren't happy with it, we wouldn't have done it. The only reason we managed to do it and we're doing it now is because it feels good again. It feels right again. I mean, we've already written our new album. We're going into the studio very shortly to actually record it, and then basically, I think the big problem that Asking had before, the reason we fell apart before is because we toured too much. And we were just stuck together in buses and planes and boats around the world for like 340 days a year. And it just got to be too much. So now, the way we are now is we're going to just tour less. We're going to write the best album, in our opinion, that we've ever written, put way more time and effort into this one than any other. And then we're going to tour it, but we're going to take more time off between tours so we don't get burnt out and we don't start to get annoyed with each other. And then that also gives us time to step aside and do other ventures and other projects that we've got, like Danny with Harlot and his solo album. You know, he'll have time to pursue both of those creative outlets for himself as well. Exactly. So hopefully this way, you know, everyone has different outlets, everyone stays friendly, no one gets burnt out and tired too quickly, and we get to keep, you know, touring the world and making music together. Yeah, it's already written. We go into the studio to record very soon. So I'm really excited about this one. It's another change. It's a change again. You know, I mean, I feel like once you've written an album, to release another album that's just almost rewritten, rehashed versions of the same songs is kind of pointless. It doesn't exercise our brains at all, and it certainly, in my mind, would get old and boring for the fans. So we always try and mix it up and change it up and push ourselves in slightly different directions with each release. And yeah, this album's no different. You know, we've pushed ourselves really hard to write the best songs we can, and it's a new vibe. In a lot of ways, it's much heavier than the black, and it's definitely a dark album. It's a very, very dark album, which is funny because it's come from such a positive place. We're in such a good place in our personal lives. To have written such a dark album is kind of confusing even to us. You know, so I guess we're just letting some sort of inner demons out on this one that the rest of the world doesn't get to see very often, and even we don't experience very often anymore, but are still sort of there under the surface, so it's exciting. Lyrics, we haven't written the lyrics yet. Danny's not written the lyrics yet. We concentrated on all the music to make sure it was perfect, and this was exactly what we wanted to do. And now Danny, you know, he's able to just sit on his own and listen to the songs and take them in and see, you know, which songs speak to him in which way and what comes out naturally rather than trying to force lyrics on a song. He's just going to see how they make him feel. I think the first and biggest lesson we've learned is to drink less. You know, I think a lot of what made us so volatile and so explosive before was the fact that we were all drinking so much and partying so hard that being stuck in that close proximity with each other all the time and being drunk, it led to a lot of fist fights, a lot of anger, a lot of upset, and I think that's really where everything started to crumble. Whereas now, we're not sober, you know, I'm still drinking and stuff, and as is everyone else, but we're not getting hammered. I've not been drunk one night this whole tour. I only have a few drinks on stage, and then I don't drink before or afterwards. Same with Danny. Danny has like a glass of wine on stage, and that's it. So it's just, we're a much happier camp now, you know, we're more sober. We're not going back after the show onto the bus and cranking the music and just getting drunk, you know. After the show, we'll sit down and talk. Some of the guys will have a beer and we'll go to bed, you know, and it keeps everyone happy and sane and healthy, you know, which I think is important. So here's what I'm doing now. My life, that's a nice change for me, and that definitely takes up a lot of the time, just exploring the different cities, learning about the culture, taking pictures, taking it all in. Yeah, I mean, basically, I think, yeah, we formed about 10 years ago, so it's kind of like a celebration of when we formed, and then obviously we've got a big 10-year coming up for when we got signed, and then another big 10-year coming up for when we released our debut album, so it's definitely an exciting and busy time in our careers at the moment. I've seen a lot of bands come and go in the time that we've been touring, so we're very fortunate to still be going, because a lot of bands, they come up and they just disappear, and a lot of that is because the industry changes so rapidly, you know. Trends change, and even the way people consume their music has changed so much since we started. You know, when we first started, I think we were at the tail end of it, but people were still buying CDs and stuff like that, and now no one buys CDs, really. They download it and they stream. So that's been a big change to get used to. And then same with touring. I don't know, it's a weird thing. Like, there are certain cities, for instance in America, Texas used to be a huge rock and metal community, and it used to be some of our biggest shows, and Orlando, Florida was terrible for us for years, and now it's switched. Orlando, Florida is like a huge rock and metal community, and Texas is getting less and less. So I don't know that there's specifics that I can remember off the top of my head for everywhere, but I know that it's just an ever-changing and constantly evolving industry that we're in, and sometimes it can be really hard to keep up, but you have to just try and do the best you can to keep up and stay relevant. You know, it's strenuous, it's stressful, but it's part of our job, and it's what we love to do. So you just have to keep working just as hard now as we did when we started, just to stay relevant. Absolutely. I mean, Danny's back. And we're older now, you know. I remember when we first started, there were bands that were touring for our age, and they're like, oh, you're the new guys coming up. And we were like, oh, but now there are new guys coming up, and we're older, so it's like, oh, we have to really prove ourselves. We have to prove that we're still the best, that we're still worthy of everyone's time and attention. So there's definitely a lot of pressure on our shoulders, but I'm not even worried about it, because I've heard the new album, and it's awesome. In another 10 years, I want to still be doing this, you know. There's no part of me that wants to stop doing this. Obviously, I've started pursuing other things like acting, which I really want to pursue more of. There's obviously other avenues I want to go down, like my solo album and stuff, that I finally want to put some more time and effort into. But, you know, in 10 years, I still hope that Asking's touring and we're still going around doing what we're doing now, you know, because we love it. This is fun, you know, it's our dream, so. Hello, I'm Ben from Alexandria. You're watching Rock Ballads. Thank you so much for all your support over the years. We're so glad to be back in your beautiful country, and we cannot wait to get back again soon. Cheers.